What's up, everyone? Welcome to the new Gaming Central podcast, not to be confused with the original one. Shout out to all the OGs on the original one. That podcast stopped in 2014, I think, around then. So we thought it was time to bring it back. We might have some of those people on at some point, but
if they want.
Yeah, if they want. This is episode 1, so we're just gonna do like a little rundown of the format and topics and stuff. So I'm Corey, also known as C-Stove across everything: Twitter, YouTube, you name it.
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah, I do have C-Stove Gaming on Facebook. I do now.
Oh, there you go. Never mind.
This is Greg, formerly Aerodontus. Some of you might know him as. He's rebranded as Iced Goose now. So tell him about you.
Well, like Corey said, I used to go by Aerodontus, and it was really confusing when I would like tell people that my gamer tag or my handle, and they're like, "How do you spell that?" So Corey and I really thought it would be a good idea to come up with an easier name, an easier handle, and little background on it. Goose is from a reference to Top Gun, and Iceman is also from Top Gun. Top Gun's one of my favorite movies, and when I play 2K games, you know those 2K basketball games, you pick a crazy weird nickname. For some reason, I would always pick Goose because I thought it sounded cool. So, full circle, my name's Greg. I like games.
Yes. Welcome. Okay, so that's who we are, and this is going to be a weekly podcast. It's going to come out every Monday on the Gaming Central YouTube channel, and then a week later on my personal YouTube channel. So you people watching it a week later, if you want this early, go sub to Gaming Central. There's a few Gaming Centrals, so just look for the one that looks like us, I guess.
Yeah, just look. Yeah.
And also, Greg, are you now Iced Goose as well on YouTube?
Yes. It's kind of like a pseudo mix right now. I mean, I have like
Arrow Iced Goose.
Yeah, Arrow Iced Goose. Arrow to the knee. Like my name is Iced Goose, but my profile is still set up as my Aerodontus account. I still have it, I'm in the process of changing it over. So I mean, there's nothing really major up on my account. It's not like yours where I'm like Insta famous or YouTube famous or anything. I have like 20 or 30 or 40 subscribers as of right now, as of this recording. You could be listening to this in 5 years when we're both like double platinums or something. I don't know.
Or not doing it anymore.
Or we're not doing it anymore. Who knows? But yeah.
Also, we do Let's Plays and also pick up videos and stuff on our personal channels. So if you want to see that stuff, head over there. And okay, so I guess Greg, I will just say that this podcast is a branch of our Facebook group, Gaming Central. So if you don't know that group, you should go join it. We have game discussions and stuff in there. It's a lot of fun. I think I created that group in like 2013, so there's a lot of cool people in there. I've made a lot of friends.
He's the Godfather.
Yeah. My old podcast, I got the nickname The Godfather because I created Gaming Central, but we also have a sister group called Game Clubs that I will let Greg tell you about, and he's going to talk to you about the games that we play and stuff.
Right. So now that you kind of know who we are and when we're going to be posting, where we're going to be posting, we kind of wanted to break down what we'll be posting. So on these weekly podcasts, we want to break down, the main thing we want to focus on is video games, because obviously Gaming Central, we love video games, and Corey and I actually have grown closer because of video games. We kind of grew up together, but due to video games is why we became so close. We started playing video games together and just really like sharing our love and passion for video games. So I say so a lot, so sorry about that. I'm pointing that out right now.
You also sows.
Hit that. I also do not sow. Do not. Like Corey was saying, our sister Facebook group to Gaming Central is something we call Game Clubs. It's where once a month
It actually got rebranded to Game Club recently.
Oh, Game Club. Sorry. It's not plural anymore. It's the singular noun known as Game Clubs, formerly known as Game Clubs. So, back to it. Game Club is where everyone in that Facebook group, we allow you to suggest 2 games per month. The only stipulations to these games are that according to Video Game Price Point, it's a website you can use. It's free to use. It lists all games and their relative prices across platforms. So these games have to be under $20. And then according to another website called How Long to Beat, it's another free platform website. It'll tell you the approximate amount of time it takes to beat a game. So the games have to be under $20 in some form or fashion. If the only way to get them under $20 is download on PlayStation Store or Xbox Microsoft Store, then if there's a $20 option or less, it's available. Like you can play it. So $20 or less, under 20 hours, and we play through them in the span of a month. And then, so we'll be discussing those games here as well at the end of the month, and we'll be discussing them throughout the month as we're playing them. We'll give you some initial thoughts, but the end of the month is when we'll be really reviewing the game and giving our detailed breakdown. Another game that we do 12 games a year, obviously. For
interject one time.
Yeah.
Game Club, we do a normal game of the month and also a game of the quarter.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about. I thought you were about to go into.
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're good. You're good.
Continue,
go ahead.
Continue.
No, you tell them about the quarter.
Game of the quarter is kind of like game of the month, except it's a longer game. Typically, it's supposed to be over 20 hours, and I think it's the price point like $50 or less.
I think $50 or less. So basically, every game that's not a new release.
Yeah. So we usually do RPGs or something similar, and that's every 3 months. So we call that the long-ass game of the quarter, by the way.
Yeah. So I mean, because it takes you a long time, and it gives you 3 months to play it.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. The current game of the quarter is Persona 5. And it's actually $20 right now, and they released Royal, which is $50, I think.
It's $60 as a full release.
It's $60 as of right now, as of this recording. So, right now, please, if you're listening and you want to join those, we really want anyone to join, because the more people we have join the game club, the more unique options for games we have. It's a random spin. I don't know if I expanded on that.
It's basically a book club too. So.
Yeah, it's a book club for video games where we all suggest a video game, and then Kevin, another member of the club, Facebook group of Gaming Central and Game Club, he does a spin. He does a wheel spin, and we like to give him a hard time because he likes to rig it for games he wants to win.
We have a guy in there that said, "Did you use a magnet?"
Yeah. Anyway, so check those out. Another aspect of video games that we're going to talk about. So we'll play Game of the Month and Game of the Quarter, and we'll discuss those in detail. And then we won't be able to fill enough content with just those. So another aspect that Corey and I have been doing for a while now, but officially started in like December, before we even had the idea for this podcast, is something that we like to call Dude Play. And the reason it's called that is because it's like a game that him and I want to play together, that we either adore and want to replay, and the other person hasn't played it, or we both want to replay it, or just a game that we're like, man, I really want to play that, just haven't had a reason to, so we're like, hey, dude, let's play, blah, blah, blah.
Not necessarily co-op either. It's just the same. No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just us playing through it, like, consecutively at the same time. That way we have something to talk about. So that's really the focus of our video games during this podcast. And then, Corey, what else are we going to talk about?
Okay, the other segment is something we're calling Nerd Corner, and this is going to be some kind of nerdy media outside of video games. So it's kind of like Dude Play, but instead we're doing like Dude Watch or Dude Read, you know? So, like for this episode, we're doing the first 5 issues of The Amazing Spider-Man, the original 1963 run. And so at the end of every episode, or probably further into the episodes, just in case you only care about games, if you care about that stuff, keep listening or watching, because we're going to discuss anime, comics, movies, just anything that any kind of media you can consume. We're going to make each other play them or read them or whatever.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Because we came to this conclusion really because we have different interests in the nerd community other than video games. Like, for instance, Corey likes comic books. He reads comic books about different aspects, different superheroes, different, like, I want to say he reads Power Rangers comic books too. And he really enjoys early 90s nerdy stuff, like when it comes to Nickelodeon and Disney and stuff like that. And that was something that I was never really interested growing up, mainly because I didn't have access to it. But then we just wanted to encourage each other to get more broad in our nerd culture areas.
Yep. So yeah, look forward to that towards the end of the episode, maybe, or I don't know. Anyways, look forward to it, regardless of where it is. We also have I don't know how to even say it, like the feel for this podcast, the brand. Go ahead, Greg. Just tell them what it's about.
So when Corey and I were discussing the ideas for this Gaming Central podcast, I really wanted I wanted to have a central focus, like not really a mission statement, but like mission phrase that we wanted to focus on and ensure every podcast had. And first one was video games, obvi. Second, we came to the conclusion for the nerd corner, and then that was kind of Corey's. Was that a burp? Do you have a heart attack?
I just wasn't sure if it came through.
Oh, God, dang. And then the third, we wanted to focus on like creating an atmosphere of positivity. And what we mean by that is we don't want to... First, we don't want to spoil any games for you guys because we think that's really negative. We wanted to keep an upbeat atmosphere when we're discussing all these topics, and then when we bring other people onto the podcast, we don't want to bring people on that have a toxic attitude about certain aspects of the world in general, and then more specifically video games and the nerd culture that we'll be discussing. And then Corey and I are also, like, I don't think we're really toxic people in general. We both try and be pretty positive in life and be uplifting and accepting, but we wanted to establish that early on in case we do build up some sort of community for you guys.
Yeah, so that's the intros.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, let us know, and we would be happy to ask. We would be happy to expand upon anything that we feel like we weren't able to touch on.
Oh, by the way, at the end of each episode, we will reveal the next Dude Play game. Or possibly the next Game of the Month game that we'll be discussing. So if you guys would like to, experience that as well, or even the Nerd Corner stuff, be sure to go throughout the week doing that stuff and write in or comment wherever you are,
Absolutely. And with our, I think especially with the nerd media in general, maybe... Game Club's not really on YouTube, but like if you guys have some sort of nerdy media outlet that you're wanting us to check out that neither one of us have checked out, or maybe we've checked out before and want to revisit, please leave us suggestions. We're always open for more and exciting ways to experience the community.
Yes.
So with all that being said, we kind of want to start off each podcast just like by talking about what we're currently playing. Right? So we're just going to, like, little quick topics. Nothing about the major Dude Plays or got a Game of the Months that we're currently investing in, but like we're enjoying other video games. So we just kind of want to start off, a little warm up. So, Corey, what's something that you are playing currently? What you playing, brah?
I've been playing a little bit of the first game I'll discuss here is Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Of course.
No one's heard of that game. It's kind of an indie, low, like underground game. I haven't played Animal Crossing really since GameCube, and my friend Eric and I would, take turns on it and stuff back in the day. And then I tried the mobile game and played it for a few weeks, but it didn't really stick me. This one's good though. And Greg, I know you don't like games with quote unquote chores.
Yeah.
But I assure you, this game, I have ADD when it comes to games, and I just want to move on a lot. And it's not even because I don't like it, it's just my attention span's not... This Animal Crossing, I have to make myself get off of it, because you're like, oh yeah, I need one more fish. Oh yeah, I need this. Oh, I need to go turn this into the museum. And then all of a sudden, time's passed. It's like, I don't know. And it's so cute, and it's like, especially during this pandemic that we're going through right now, it's like a good escape from it. Like, a nice island with no viruses,
No virus. It would be hilarious if they updated a patch or something that you could infect some sort of virus or something.
The only virus is these dang Easter eggs.
I hear the Easter eggs are plenty, but you are right. I've never really been into the Animal Crossing franchise because the idea of constantly doing chores and trying to get out of debt, that's my life. Why would I want to play a video game that resembles my life?
But
I will say how popular this game is and how much people are just raving about it makes me consider getting it.
But I will say, so in the past, if I remember right, you end up owing Tom Nook a whole bunch of bells, and so you guys basically just got to keep selling stuff, and like you can't buy any. We could, but you pay him off slower, so you got to give him your money. Well, this introduces Nook Miles, which you have a cell phone in the game, and all the apps do something.
Aren't you on a deserted island?
Yeah, I don't see any cell phone towers, but whatever. So,
oh man,
there's an app for Nook Miles, and when you go into it, there's all these challenges, like tasks, like catch 10 fish or dig 10 holes, or like, and there's some like off ones that like stuff you think that like, haha, I didn't know I could do this. This is kind of random, and it's in there, and you get Nook Miles for it, and that's what goes to him to pay him back instead of you just having to give him all your money. So it makes it a lot better than just like gathering peaches and selling them and then giving the money to Tom Nook. Like that gets kind of repetitive, but I'm racking up Nook Miles without even trying, you know, because I'm just doing my random regular stuff.
What do the Nook Miles do?
They're another form of currency basically that he'll take as, I think the whole idea is like he wants the island to be like this thriving like economy and thriving thing. So if you go clear out weeds and stuff, like he likes that, so it adds to your Nook Miles. And if you like shop or build stuff or, you know, fish, fill out the museum.
How far into it are you? How many hours?
I don't know, not too many. I'd say maybe 4 or 5, but when I'm planning on just playing 30 minutes at a time and it turns into like an hour or two, I'm like, whoa.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
What's the name of your island?
Techno.
Techno.
And the reason for that is when I was younger, when I was a kid, I was like 10. One of my friends and I, we like had a vivid imagination, and we were like talking about how Techno, the world name is Techno, basically out in the country where I lived, and Pokemon were alive in my woods and stuff, and like my pond had all the water Pokemon and stuff, and I don't know, we just called it Techno, like, so I just went with that.
Okay.
So, Greg, what's the first game you've been playing?
Okay, I've been playing a lot of games, and I think the first one I want to talk about is one that's near and dear to your heart. Well, the first two are really near and dear to your heart, but I'm going to start with Psychonauts. Have you heard of it?
I think I'm not sure. Is that like the one with the dude with the mustache and the red hat?
Yeah, something like that. So Psychonauts is a PlayStation 2 game originally created by Double Fine. I know you're a big fan of Double Fine. They make some games such as Costume Quest 2.
My bae.
I know that's a big personal favorite of yours. So I'm playing it on the PlayStation 4. It was a game of the month like a year or two ago, I want to say
like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. And I started it then, and I couldn't get into it. And the reason I can't get into it, and the reason I'm struggling to get back into it. Okay, backtrack. I started this because I was kind of in the middle of games, and I was like, man, I want to get an easy platinum. Corey's got this platinum trophy, so it's got to be an easy platinum.
It's got some annoying parts.
So, not to disrespect you there, but... we haven't mentioned this, guys, but Corey and I are self-proclaimed trophy whores, so you'll hear us talk about trophies a lot.
Or achievements in general. Yeah.
Or achievements in general, right. With Psychonauts, the trophy list seemed pretty straightforward. It's a platforming game, or it tries to be a platforming game. The problem is the PlayStation 2 was limited, and I can see why you like this game because the graphics and the art style, the music, the characters, they're very PlayStation 2. They're very old school. There's not a lot of depth to them. There's a lot of slapstick humor in it. And
slapstick?
Slapstick.
Oh, slapstick. Have you been getting this wrong all your life?
All my life I've been calling it slapstick. And I might have said slapstick.
Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah. But I came across the first world that you kind of go into, the first level area, where it's kind of the tutorial level. There's a mini game to proceed, and you just got to beat level 1 of the mini game to proceed throughout the level. But to get a trophy, you have to beat level 5. And there is such a difficulty spike at level 4 that it just frustrated me to no end. I played it for like an hour and a half trying to beat this thing, and I eventually just moved on.
Which level is 4?
So the mini game itself is like
you're talking about that punching one, right?
Yeah, it's a punching mini game. So it's a circle, a small circle, and then a bigger circle around that with little paper pop-ups, and you just got to run over and hit it, punch it before.
They're like cutouts of people.
Yes, and you got to punch it before time runs out, and you got to get like. To start off, you got to get like 20 and 30 seconds, and they stay up for like 3 seconds. And then as each level you go up, the time they're up is shorter, and the more you got to hit. And then at level 3, I want to say, when you miss one, you get deducted a point. So on level 5, it's like, boom, 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 and it's so frustrating because the controls are just so annoying. Overall, though, like it's all right. It's not a world beater or anything.
I love it.
I know you love it. I think you're just biased, though, because you like Double Fine.
What? That doesn't make sense.
What's something else you've been playing, Corey?
I've been working on Final Fantasy VI on and off. I've been playing this thing for so long. Yeah, I'm playing the Android version, and at first I was playing it so sparingly or sporadically because the controls are kind of wonky. You have to use like the touch screen to make your guy walk around and stuff, and it's just not a great way to play. But the port itself is great. Aside from that, like it looks really good. The music's great. It has achievements for Google Play. But I got a new controller last Christmas. The Razer something. It's kind of an expensive mobile controller, but that thing makes that game like night and day better. Like any mobile game I've been playing, I even downloaded a N64 emulator, and Mario 64 runs perfect with it. So yeah, I need to dig back into that. Just Animal Crossing kind of got in my way.
You're almost done with Final Fantasy VI, right? Like
yeah, I'm really far into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's your next game, sir?
Another game I've been playing, I know I don't want to talk a lot about this one because it's such a large game, but it's Breath of the Wild. Ooh. I've never beaten Breath of the Wild, but it's been out for 2 years or something like that.
So 2017.
2017. So
March of 2017.
Yeah, so 3 years now. And I've had it since I've had my Switch, but I just haven't wanted to dive into it. I think when I originally got it, I was playing Skyward Sword at the time, and I didn't want to do 2 different Zelda games. Anyway, it's great. I just kind of got through the tutorial area where you first get the glider and get off the cliff, and it's a super fun game. It's really annoying how your stuff breaks all the time, your equipment, so it makes it more realistic. And now I'm just kind of exploring the world and working towards actually kind of officially starting the game. So.
I've always said this about Breath of the Wild. If a dev came up to me and was like, you know what, Corey, I know you inside and out, and I created the perfect video game for you, that's Breath of the Wild. Just saying.
I do really enjoy the cooking aspect of it.
Yeah, it's so funny when it's cooking.
I find the cooking so much fun. Is like you throw, like you're holding all this stuff, and then you're like throw it on there, and it's like, and then it's like if you create something, it's like,
yeah,
and then like
nasty.
watching him eat everything is really funny, like because he doesn't actually eat something, but he like holds up his hand like he has something and he eats it, depending on what, like if it's a skewer, he's like and then. Like he'll eat it and he'll like not like it or really like it, and I think that's a cool little.
So not to be a downer when it comes to Breath of the Wild, but that game came out that game and the Switch came out the same day my dog died, and I had her for like 13 years or something. So I didn't play it right away because I was pretty depressed, but it got me out of that. Like, so now it's kind of special to me because I played it a couple days after, and I named my horse Minnie. And my fiance was playing Final Fantasy 15 at the time. She named her Black Chocobo Minnie. So we both had our own minis on the game. And then Minnie died in the game. And so I went completely out of I was still kind of early in the game. Very, don't have good weapons, not high level or anything. I go completely out of my way, all the way across the world, to find this horse god I found out exists. And I sold everything I could, gathered up a whole bunch of money, threw it at this horse god, got Minnie back, put her in the stable, and didn't ride her once again. I walked around the entire world for the rest of the game so she wouldn't die again.
Oh, man.
Literally didn't use a horse after that.
No wonder it took you forever to beat the game.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's good memories, you know?
Yeah. It's great how video games can help us through stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything else? I was saying, if you didn't know, you can resurrect your horse, Greg.
I know now. I haven't even seen a horse yet, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not even that far. You got another game you're playing that you want to talk about?
I'm playing God of War Ascension, but we'll talk about that momentarily. We played Rocket League a lot.
Yeah,
it's
Rocket.
Have I been playing anything else with a story? I can't remember.
Yeah, we've been playing our next game, but those are embargoed right now. Personal embargo.
Yeah. So I guess that's it.
Let's spoil it. I have one more game I want to talk about that I've been playing, and that is Telltale's The Game of Thrones.
Ooh, nice.
And oh my gosh, if you guys have never played a Telltale's game, they're really fun. They're really exciting. They're a narrative-based option adventure that follows several. They usually jump around a little bit and follow different people. This is my second Telltale's game to play. I played Batman, the Telltale's game, and really enjoyed it. And they're known for being easy platinums. You just beat it and you get the platinum. Have you played the Game of Thrones Telltales?
No. The only Telltale game I've finished is Walking Dead, I think. The first one.
But did you watch your fiance play it at all?
No. Anything she plays that I haven't seen, I avoid her.
Okay. So, as someone who loved the Game of Thrones TV show, I was really excited to play this. And let me tell you, there are 6 episodes. I finished the 3rd episode, and I've had to play it at 3 separate times because each episode stresses me out so much that I literally cannot go on to the next one because I'm so amped up and worked up at the end of it. Because there's like 6 different storylines, and I'm like a perfectionist when it comes to video games, and I want to do the best possible thing the entire time. And so every second or third conversation, something pops up, like if I was talking to you, and I get these 4 options, and I say one thing, and it's like, Corey will remember that. And I'm like, oh, crap.
Shit, he remembers it. Go back.
I'm like, oh, God, did he remember? Or like, that angers Corey. And I'm like, oh, crap, no, I don't want to anger. And there's so much going on, and there's such, like, it's, the thing that really frustrates me is it, just like Game of Thrones does, it really pushes you to choose between your family and your duty. But, like, whatever, like, this individual's role is at that time, it's like pushing you. It's like, hey, you have to do this to uphold the role that you are being assigned to, whether it's a lord or if it's a servant or whatever. And then it's like, but your family needs you to break that, and you're like, oh crap. So the whole time I'm just like freaking out inside, like, oh, am I doing it right? Oh gosh, I don't know. Anyway,
easy platinum at least.
Yeah, if I could ever get the mental anxiety to push through it. Oh man. Okay, I just wanted to bring that up a little bit.
No, it sounds fun. I need to play. I know it's a side story. It doesn't follow the show. It's like a side thing.
It does follow the show, but you're not one of the main characters in the show. Like, it will definitely spoil the show for you. So don't play it if you plan on watching the TV show or know nothing about the TV show, because it will ruin it. Because there's certain aspects that happen major in the TV show that were like big major turning points that force your characters into a main turning point.
Well, is that all we've been playing, Gregory?
Yeah, that's kind of all we've been playing that we don't need to talk about later.
Yeah. So our first game we're going to discuss in greater detail here is God of War Ascension.
Dun dun.
Yeah. So this is developed by Sony Santa Monica. Santa Monica. Every podcast I listen to, they say Sony Santa Monica, so I don't know if they rebranded or what, but it came out in March 12th, 2013, so we're almost exactly, like 7 years away from that game. Pretty close. It was last month, but anyways.
It was the game of the month for March, so 7 years.
Yeah. So Santa Monica. Oh, that is cool. That accidentally happened. So
You're welcome.
Santa Monica. Originally 2001, they made Connecticut. I don't know what that is, but they're mostly known for God of War.
Yeah, when I looked them up, when I was doing some research on them, it looked like basically the only games that they've made that are successful are the God of War games.
Yeah, it was like Connecticut and then all the God of Wars.
Yeah, that's all I know them for is Santa Monica is only the God of Wars.
Yeah.
And they made the 2018 God of War, correct?
Did they? Let me see.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
yeah.
they put the IP for it.
They made all of them except the PSP ones, I guess. The PSP ones aren't on there. So.
Oh, the Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta?
Yeah. So, So I'll tell you guys, Metacritic gave this game an 80. GameSpot gave it an 8 out of 10. GamesRadar 3.5 out of 5. IGN gave it a 7.8 and said Ascension has its moments, but even the addition of multiplayer doesn't conceal its Kratos' weakest outing yet. So
that was Alex Simmons of IGN.
Yeah, Alex Simmons of IGN said this.
Shout out Alex Simmons, friend of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. We've actually never met Alex, but seems like a nice guy. So yeah, if you guys remember when this game came out, I remember specifically because I bought the collector's edition for this game day one because I was like super into binging all the God of Wars when it came out, and everyone was like pretty much crapping on this game, comparing it to the old ones. And so I haven't beaten it yet. I played a little more today. I'm on chapter 11 of 20, so I am a little over halfway. And Greg, you told me there's 30 chapters, only 20.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
It's okay. So I'm a little over halfway, but I've played enough God of Wars and enough of this one to be able to at least speak on it. I'll speak on it more a little bit when I beat it, but what are your thoughts on God of War Ascension? No spoilers, by the way, guys. Spoiler free.
Yeah, spoiler free. Okay. As someone who is an avid God of War lover and has been holding off playing the 2018 God of War that people have been claiming is one of the best games ever made, I've been playing through every God of War, and God of War Ascension is the 6th installment, if I'm not mistaken. It is the final game before God of War, the 2018. Yeah. It has nothing to do with the God of War 2018 because this game is actually the prequel to the entire series. It's prequel to God of War 1, and it actually, like, without spoiling anything, the storyline does ends up setting up well for God of War 1. Now, my frustrations... Okay. I'll start with the positives. I'll start with my positives. The game looks great. The game, you can tell this is an end of the PlayStation 3 life cycle because the graphics are really good, especially compared to all the other God of War games that didn't get remastered for the PlayStation 4. It's probably the prettiest PlayStation 3 game that I've played other than maybe Last of Us when I played it originally on the PlayStation 3. Like, would you agree with that, Corey? Like, the graphics itself are pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, they were able to fully optimize what the PlayStation 3 was capable of. And so I think it would look really... I can't imagine, like, if they did a remaster for PlayStation 4, I don't think there'd be a huge difference, if any real difference, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated that. And it's your typical God of War hack and slash action adventure. And my thought going into this is I've got the, not to brag, little brag moment here, I have the platinum trophy for every other God of War game I've played. So God of War 1, 2, 3, Chains of Olympus, Ghost of Sparta. I've got the platinum trophy for all of those. So going into this one, I was like, of course I'm going to get the platinum trophy. Typically the hardest part for me with these God of War platinum trophies is beating the game on hard. Typically it wants you to beat the game on hard and then do some sort of challenge of the gods. And when you beat the original game, you got to collect all the feathers, all the eyes, right, and upgrade all your stuff, which not hard. They do a good job of putting enough chests in the game they put more chests in the game than you need, which I appreciate. My frustration with this is that they've added multiplayer. None of the other games, to my knowledge, had multiplayer. Now, so I beat the game hard, collect everything, get 98% of the trophies. The only trophy I've left is to defeat the multiplayer tutorial, which is like a little pseudo boss that teaches you the multiplayer aspects. Since this game came out in 2013, for whatever reason, they decided to put an online pass with this game. So if you bought the game brand new, you got an online pass with your game. As I bought it in 2017 or something, whenever I bought it, the pass was used already. The only way to get an online pass now is to pay $10 on the PlayStation Store. The multiplayer online server is still active. You can still pay $10. So the only thing keeping me from getting a platinum trophy on this game is spending another $10 on it so I can go in and beat the tutorial. That's my biggest frustration with this game. And I hate it.
So,
why would you do this?
It does suck. You just need to do it, though. It just needs to be done.
Yeah.
People,
you got $10?
People buy platinum trophies all the time, like myself.
What? There's a game out there. Is it Near Automata where you literally can buy the platinum trophy in the game? Like, I want to say you can spend in-game
credits. Yeah, that is in a game. I forgot about that. By the way, guys, we will be talking a lot about trophies, and we want to add a few trophy segments at some point. But so, don't get frustrated if you don't like trophies.
Yeah, sorry, we're trophy horse. But it's a good game. It's a fun game.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I have beat it.
Yeah, he beat it. So I like this game a lot. It's kind of janky, I've noticed. Did you notice some jank with this game?
Like, you mean like glitchy parts of it?
Yeah, like...
All God of Wars have that.
Well,
I haven't played a single game that had it.
Sometimes when it saves, it freezes the entire cutscene just while it's saving.
No, like, freeze the game where you need to restart it?
No, like I was riding on the snake thing, you know, the big metal snake thing, and like it went to save, so it just froze the whole thing, saved, and then continued. It's like,
that doesn't bother me because like literally every God of War does that.
I just like the last God of War I played, like recently was God of War 3, but it was on PS4, so I haven't played a PS3 God of War in a while, and I guess I just forgot it had some jank to it.
And that's frustrating, but that's, you got to remember, it's PlayStation 3. That's about to be 2 generations ago, and
by no means a deal breaker. I just thought I'd bring it up. It's got a little jank.
Yeah, the janks that bother me is sometimes you'll get like stuck in a corner if you're like jumping on stuff, like trying to find like secrets or something. Like, that's what frustrates me. But
something else I noticed, I'm pretty sure all the God of Wars do it, but this one, if I'm remembering correctly, does it a little more than the other ones. Because this one came out after Uncharted, so there's definitely some like Uncharted climbing in this game. Did you notice that? Like, I
didn't notice it being Uncharted-like-esque necessarily. Like, I noticed improved climbing. So I mean, if that's thanks to Uncharted, then absolutely.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's bad. I was just like, yeah. Sony.
I mean, it definitely had more quick time event jump scenes, and I could definitely see where you get the Uncharted feel from that.
Yeah, and lots of like sliding and stuff.
Yeah, you did. Okay, yeah. I see it now.
And like running while something's collapsing, like, you know, it's like they Sony does that though. They'll reuse kind of stuff like that.
That reminds me of Crash Bandicoot. Is running when something's crashing behind you. You know, that was, and that is it Naughty Dog? Is it Naughty?
Yeah.
Who made Crash Bandicoot? Is that Naughty Dog?
Yeah.
Okay. I was speaking out of turn.
I'm very sure. Yes, because there was never mind. There's a teaser for Crash and
one of them started. I know.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just an Easter egg. I don't consider that spoiling. It has nothing to do with the main story.
So, guys, we do a thing here. Instead of giving things just, you know, your run of the mill, I give this a 5 out of 5 type of thing. We're gonna use something a lot of you are familiar with here. We're gonna throw some nuts in the game.
Oh, nuts!
So
nuts.
we're gonna give these games we review or rank or whatever. We're gonna give them Deku nuts. So 5 Deku nuts is the highest nut you can get.
Well, I thought we were doing 10. We were doing a 20-point scale with 10.
It's is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what we discussed. We discussed 1 through 10 with, we could do halves Halfsies.
Okay, so I'm going to have to for Ni no Kuni 2. I'm going to have to do some math here. I'll just double all my nuts.
Okay.
Yes. So when it comes to the story for God of War Ascension, should I even rank this yet? If I haven't.
I don't know if you should, like, because you haven't beat it.
Okay, so we're gonna do Greg's nuts. I'll give you my nuts on the next one. You guys will get my nuts on the next one.
I think you could do everything but the story. You know?
Yeah, I could do it. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many Deku nuts do you give the story? By the way, we're gonna average these nuts out and give this game its own final nuts.
Yeah, and that way we can't just be like, oh, I give it like a 80 or I give it a 90. Yeah. We actually like rate it on stuff, and that will be our score.
So how many nuts are you giving the story for?
Can you keep track of the little housekeeping here, Corey? Do you mind keeping track of our scores and then averaging it out? Since I'm kind of occupied with all my stuff.
I got you.
Okay, so we want to approach each game with the same criteria, so that we came up with 5 ideas that we want to rate every game with. Little housekeeping right here. We rate every game on story, combat, music, goal, and art. One story, combat, music, goal, and art. And then we also do like a sub rating that won't really affect our score, based on the trophies, achievements, like extra goals that the game incentivizes you to get. So,
I'm going to keep track of all these ratings, and we're going to basically end up having a top 10 game of the month games on here, and top 10 dude play games. So
exactly. So, since Corey hasn't, I won't really dive into this category that much since Corey hasn't beat it, but I gave the story of God of War Ascension 6 Deku nuts out of 10 possible.
Okay.
Oh, and I will say this a little bit. It's kind of confusing. The story throughout it is a bit confusing until you get to the end, closer to the end, and it starts to like.
I really don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it becomes a little more clear. Like they start like picturing it together, but like the very start of the game, it's just like, okay, I guess I'm doing this. I guess I killed this person.
Yeah.
That's how. Okay, so Corey, what would you rate the combat in this game?
I got carpal tunnel almost on one of these.
You're an old man.
On one of these battle segments.
Which battle segment?
It was you know how you get your fire and then your ice and all that? When you first get the fire, they throw like 50 enemies at you, and I'm just freaking mashing buttons, you know? And I like had to pause because I was like, ah!
So little side note before you give the rating, what I ended up having to do, I don't know if you're playing on hard. Are you playing on hard?
No.
So I don't know the different hard. It's very difficult. I died a lot throughout this game. I eventually just had to get to where I could press R1 and grapple the people and hit circle and throw people. So that was I would R1 circle. So I wasn't doing this a lot like with square. I was doing R1 circle. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
So out of 10, I'm going to give this game's combat a solid 5.
Wow. Not a fan, huh?
It's just,
you got to take your aspirin and play, bro.
It's just too button mashy. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, 5's average. It's like, it's there. It's not like I'd say it's bad. It's not like I say it's great. So.
Okay, with me, I'm a little higher on it because I don't know, I like the button mashy. I like feeling overpowered and like having hordes of enemy comes at me and like feeling like the God of War, you know? Like I enjoy the overwhelming power that Kratos has.
Changing to 6.
And so I give it a 7.5.
Okay.
7.5. I mean, not like perfect, like you said. It's not the best combat system, but it's still fun and you're strong.
Yeah.
All right, Corey, what would you give the music of this game?
The
soundtrack, if you will.
Now, would I listen to the soundtrack in the car? Probably not.
Would you listen to it at the gym?
Yeah, if you're like in the traffic, it's like.
Yeah.
So
the music doesn't really do anything different from the other games.
Yeah, it's not bad music, but it's not. It's definitely forgettable though. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna give the music a 6.5.
I also gave it a 6.5. Deku nuts. 6.5 Deku nuts. By the way, please don't ask us how you get half a Deku nut, because I don't know.
Just break it. Okay.
How does Link say when he's like, ha!
Oh, yeah, like, psh, psh.
Yeah.
So, now the goal rating here, if you don't know what that is, how does this game does it accomplish what it's trying to do? Like, a God of War game is trying to be... God of War created its own genre, basically. Like,
It did.
So, as a hack-and-slash God of War game, how many Deku Nuts do you think this deserves on its goal?
I gave it 8.5 out of 10 Deku Nuts, because I definitely think it achieves what all the other God of War achieves. It wants you to be this overpowered man who's immortal, very much immortal, and you can die. It does a great job of like making you super strong, but then also giving you difficult enemies and battles to where it like reminds you that you definitely are immortal and you are human and you can die. But I also like the fact that it like when you die, you don't have to play like 3 hours to catch back up.
Yeah. So I'm giving it an 8, and it would be higher if... So two of the things I really loved about God of War 3 when it came to the gameplay is, which I might get these later, is the wings and the bow and arrow. Like, those two things made combat and stuff and traversal so much fun in God of War 3, and they're not here, which they might be here later.
So just to expand on this, like you get different powers in this game, and once you power up those powers, like increase the level of those powers with your red orbs, they give you different abilities that like definitely come in handy.
So I guess I shouldn't really rate the goal. I shouldn't do it.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't. You're right.
Okay. So
all right, final system that we're going to rate is the art style. And we decided to create an artistic category because like certain games are just so renowned for their artistic lifestyle and how well they capture. It doesn't have to be like the most stunning, like picture perfect water graphics for me to think it's a 9 or a 10 out of 10 in the art. It's really like the art style it's trying to achieve. Did it achieve it? In my opinion. Right?
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah. I give it a 9. I think it looks good. It looks good for a God of War game.
Yeah, I also gave it a 9, and I think it kind of goes back to being one of the later games in the generation. It was really able to capitalize on what it was.
Yeah, I think especially when you consider it's a PS3 game, like
absolutely, it's a PS3 game that looked like a PS4 game in my opinion. So I think it did very well. I mean, don't get me wrong, like there's still like some issues with it. It's not perfect graphically.
Okay, so Greg's final Deku Nut score for this game.
Hold on.
7.5 Deku Nuts.
Oh, that's not bad.
Which actually fits right in with everyone's, reviews and stuff. Mine is it's out of 3 categories, I guess.
Yeah.
So 6 plus 6.5 plus 9. 7.1. So 7.2 basically.
Yeah.
So not bad.
We both are about the same time, and you haven't done goal or story, and so yeah.
7.5 for Greg. 7.2 Corey.
I like it. Now, to talk about the trophies a little bit, me personally, anytime I play any game that has a trophy system on my PlayStation, I look up the PlayStationTrophies.org. I think it's a .org. It's a website that ranks all the trophies and gives you a trophy guide. And so that website ranks how difficult it believes the trophy is based on user feedback. Getting the platinum trophy is. And it had this game at a 4 out of 10, 10 being the highest, 10 being very, very difficult. And it estimated it would take about 10 to 15 hours for the platinum. Typically, 4 out of 10, 10 to 15 hours, heck yeah. I'm all in that. But I just want to warn you guys that the online trophy like I said earlier, alluded to earlier, is the only trophy that's keeping me from doing this. So if I ever just get $10 extra on my PlayStation account or something, I will definitely buy it and get the platinum trophy easily.
You better do it before the servers shut down.
Oh, yeah, I need to do that. Why you gotta remind me?
Just saying. You're forever going to have that one trophy away.
Oh my gosh, it's my second game with one trophy away. Second game, the first being Ratchet and Clank, the new one, based on the movie, based on the game. But, yeah. Any last thoughts on God of War?
No, I mean, I think it's an enjoyable game so far.
Yeah. If you guys have played the game and you have thoughts and you want to give your own Decking Nut ratings, leave a comment. Let us know. And we'll be happy to hear your thoughts on it and discuss our counterpoints. Absolutely.
So, is it time for you to say what our first dude play was, or did we already say that?
Absolutely. Yeah, we haven't shared our first dude play. Yeah. So now we're moving on from God of War. Moving on to dude play. I don't know. I was making some sort of noise with it. All right. So dude play. I actually was given the honor bestowed upon me for our first game. And I
also bought this game for one of your
he did,
occasions.
Yeah. Was it birthday?
I think so.
So the game we played for our first dude, let's play, was Ni no Kuni 2, The Revenant Kingdom. This is a sequel to Ni no Kuni 1. It's just called Ni no Kuni, but it's the first Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, originally on the PlayStation 3. It was remastered for the PlayStation 4.
And the Switch.
So there's plenty of options out there. I chose this game because I played the first one and just fell in love with it. And I'm pretty sure Corey enjoyed the first one too. The art style was really neat, and the game was great. And I actually got the platinum trophy on the first one and the second one. And so I've been wanting to play. It's a JRPG developed by Level 5 gaming company and published by Bandai Namco. I don't want to talk about Bandai Namco because they're super big. But Level 5, some notable entries from them. Their first game that they developed. Do you know what it was, Corey?
Level 5. I know a few of their games, but I forgot.
Okay, so their first game that they ever made was Dark Cloud for the PlayStation 2.
I was going to say one of those. Yeah, I couldn't remember which one came out
Dark
first.
Cloud and Dark Cloud 2, also known as Dark Chronicles everywhere but the US. And I love Dark Cloud. Oh, they also made White Knight Chronicles for PlayStation 3, and they make the yokai games. I don't know. I've never played the yokai games, but they look very anime style, and they seem popular. Like anime, like they look like an anime, which most of their games do. Like they do a really good animated games. So Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom was released on March 23rd, another March release, 2018. The reception that it got, the ratings, Metacritic gave it an 84, GameSpot gave it an 8 out of 10, Games Radar 4.5 out of 5, IGN for some reason lower than everyone else gave it a 7.8, and IGN said Revenant Kingdom delivers in pacing and scope, but is let down by a lack of character development and challenge, according to Cam Shea. Not so much friend of the show because he hated this game apparently.
I actually watched that video review today, some of it.
Really?
I didn't really agree with a lot of what he was saying.
Yeah, suck it, Cam. I'm just kidding, Cam. You seem nice.
One thing he said was that the characters are nothing more than sprites. They don't really offer much. And I thought they were all decently unique. I don't know. But
yeah, I definitely did. And you've completed this game, correct, Corey?
Yeah, I beat it. I did not platinum it yet, but I did.
Yet?
I did roll the credits.
Yet. Okay, so what are just your overall thoughts on this game, Corey? Frustrations, negatives, critiques.
So, above all else, I did enjoy this game.
That's what matters.
I do think it's a great game. It gets a bit grindy. Like, you can't just power through this game. Like, if you want to go...
It's JRPG story.
Well, I'm
all
JRPGs
are grindy.
Not like this, though. Like, with other like, with this game... You couldn't just level up to 100 and still just power through the game. Like, you couldn't just go... like, other RPGs, if you wanted to, you could just, right when you start it, level up to 99 and shoot through the story. Like, you could do that if you wanted to. This one, you could level up to 99, you're not shooting through the story. Like, it makes you grind out some other stuff. Like, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think I finished the game at, like, level 84 or something like that, 83.
And some might think that's good, some might think that's bad. I don't know.
Well, I'm kind of skillful, so you know.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about
you just need to get good, Corey.
I'm talking about being able to. I'm not even talking. I think you're misinterpreting what I'm putting down here.
Maybe I am.
I'm meaning. Say. I'm gonna do an analogy here. Say there's starting into a game, right?
Okay.
Like God of War, for instance. If you wanted to, you don't have to go look for all these red orbs and stuff. You don't have to do any of that. You could literally just go cutscene to cutscene and roll credits. I mean,
okay.
Barring you're good at combat.
Yeah, I get it.
This game...
Barring you get good. Yeah.
This game, you can't just go start to finish, run through it, because as soon as you want to get to a new cutscene, it's like, must update your kingdom. Must have 50 citizens. Must do this and that. And you're like, I just want to get to the next story cutscene. So it makes you do its extra stuff, which some people might get annoyed by.
Okay, I can agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Which is why I was saying, even if you're level 99, they're going to make you recruit 50 citizens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. And me personally, I enjoyed that aspect of it. I enjoyed like doing the little side quests for the character acquisitions and stuff. Me personally, though, anytime I play a JRPG or an RPG where leveling system happens, I go out of my way to do every side quest possible. That way I am overpowered. Going back to the God of War discussion, I enjoy being an overpowered deity in video games and being able to just wreck people and one-shot people.
So
every game I do, I'm excited for that point to where I can one-shot an enemy, even if it's like a lowly peasant.
So, like I said earlier in the podcast, I have like game ADD. So, I'll start out that way, like I'm gonna hit every single side quest, but then, especially playing alongside you, who was like flying through the game, like I'm already on chapter 8 and I'm over here on like 1 or 2. I was like, all right, I just gotta go into like speedrun mode here. Mm-hmm. So I just turn my engines on and I go, and there's just all these barriers. You know what I mean? It's like you're not going anywhere. But
I don't think I necessarily beat it quickly. I think you were just like, not to harp on you a little bit, you were playing a couple games, and this was like the only game at the time that I was playing.
I'm not even meaning it like you were flying through it. I'm just saying like you were going through it faster than I was.
Oh, okay.
Which, so I went into speedrun mode, which I do at a lot of games. It happens to me all the time. 25% of the game, I'm like, 100%, we're doing this. And then I'm like, I gotta get through this, so I just go speedrun mode. And it's frustrating when you want to do that and you hit these barriers. But I will say, I came back around and was like, you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy this. And that took the frustration away. But if you want to speedrun something, I wouldn't do this one.
Yeah, I don't know how you could speedrun this one.
Yeah, I don't think you could either.
I mean, speedrunners are out there and they got to.
For instance, I was like, I'm going to platinum this game. I'm going to get every single citizen, do all these side quests, and I was like, nah, I got to beat this. Well, the stuff it makes you do, I did, and I'm like, well, now I'm already close to these trophies, so I might as well. It like forced me to get close. Yeah, so...
And I enjoyed the fact that, like, I enjoy the things that, like, when it comes to trophies and stuff, if it's just like you have to get 100 citizens, and to get the trophy for all the citizens, it's like 103. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm gonna get the last 3. Mm-hmm. You know, it puts you in a spot to where it's like, hey, man, if you want to get this trophy, you know, it like helps you get the trophy, and I appreciated that.
So, just ignore my frustrations because they are very unique to me in that certain situation.
Hey, don't downgrade yourself, Corey. You matter.
I'm just meaning, I don't think anyone else would have that same situation. Like, all right, I'm tired of this. I'm going to speedrun. Like, they'll probably just play the game.
I definitely think there's games out there, not this one in particular, where I really am enjoying it, but I'm like, I kind of want to just be done with this game, you know?
Yeah. So, did you already go through all... Yeah, you went through all the ratings for this.
Yeah. I haven't... Oh, yeah. I thought you meant our ratings. No. Okay, I'm ready for our ratings. If you're ready for our ratings,
I was born ready.
I was born ready. All right, so back to the same rating criteria. We're going to use Deku Nets, and we're going to do story, combat, music, goal, and art. And we'll talk about the trophies a little bit more because I have some thoughts on the trophies. But let's go through the top 5 categories first. So Corey, story. How many Deku Nets would you give it?
So,
So.
I did not do my rating before the podcast for God of War, but I did for this one. So I also wrote some little blurbs here for myself.
Absolutely.
The story's decent. It's not the best I've ever experienced, but it is good. It's got some like, if this was real life, I don't think it would go like that. You know what I mean?
It's not real. It's a fantasy adventure.
I know, but I'm just meaning like, is it really possible to make every single nation in the entire world agree no violence? Probably not. But I like the thought of it. You know, I would definitely do that. But I gave the story 8.5 Deku Nuts. I enjoyed it enough. Like, I had no problems with it. It was easy to follow. The characters were enjoyable. It had some twists that I wasn't expecting, and it made me dislike some characters. It made me really like some characters. And quite frankly, I'm not spoiling anything, by the way. The ending was kind of choked me up.
It really did. The ending got.
Oh.
Now, I pride myself, like when I watch movies and play games, of like being able to predict the ending. I was not able to predict the complete ending for this game.
Me neither.
So throw that out there. The story, I agree with what you're saying. It had some twists and stuff, but overall it had like the normal aspect of a JRPG. You know, it had the protagonist that was, without spoiling anything, the protagonist was a little naive to everything, and he had a best friend support model
kind
that
of
like
story.
Coming of age, yeah. And I really appreciated that. And I disliked the main protagonist, Evan, to start with. But I really fell in love with the character and enjoyed playing as him. Who'd you play as, by the way? Because you can play as a couple different people. Who was your main character in the battle system?
Rogan.
Roland?
Rogan. I was watching the challenge.
Rogaine? You got like the Rogaine hair?
Also, Roland is I have no idea what this IGN dude is talking about, saying that they're nothing more than sprites. Roland was a very dynamic character.
Absolutely.
Like, I went from like, I like this guy a lot. This guy freaking sucks. Okay, I like him a lot. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Batu, the big burly dude.
Him too, yeah.
And he I would say he was kind of like, honestly, I would say he was a little like even killed, like not a huge amount of depth to his character. Like you knew who he was.
He was more like, I brute, like
I am Hulk, which I loved him though. Like I love that he embraced that character.
Every story needs that kind of character.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Drax character.
Exactly. If I stand really still. Anyway, story Deku Nuts, I gave it 8.5 as well. Sorry, we kind of got sidetracked there.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the combat system. I kind of want to touch on this. It is completely different combat system from the first game, right?
And I like it better than the first game's combat, quite honestly.
And I really didn't think I was going to. Like the first game, I enjoyed the familiars aspect, recruiting, and almost like a Pokemon-esque.
Get into those.
One of the trophies is you got to like recruit every character, and so I really got into the familiar bond that you make, and I enjoyed that, but I ended up liking this one better. Yeah. So you want to expand on your thoughts on the combat?
So my little blurb here says, I like the battle system a lot. Simple, yet customizable with different weapons, tweaks, etc. Mm-hmm. So basically it's a pretty simple system. You could just go in and button mash if you want, but there's some customization to it too. I don't like the skirmishes that much. That's another side combat here, which, to let you guys know, it's basically you'll have different, like, what are they called, battalions? Forces? It's very RTS. Yeah, so you'll have your little guy, and then he'll have like 4 to 6 guys around him, and they each have a certain aspects. Like one's a sword, there's archers, they're all different colors. One has like a shield, it's blue, and those are strong or weak against the other ones, like rock, paper, scissors, basically. So an enemy will come and say they have a red thing above their head. Well, then you know to use, I don't remember, the blue thing, I guess. So you can rotate it to make your blues match up with their reds. And you have a certain amount of points you can use. And like if you lose characters, you just hold circle, and you can recruit more characters back into your, like, replenish your stock, basically, of like soldiers. And if you build up any cannons or anything, you also use those points. And if you run out of those points, you're really screwed. So
you run out of those points and run out of people, you lose.
Yeah, but I'm meaning like if you have people and you run out of the points, you're basically like I've barely gotten by in some of these battles where I have like 3 soldiers left and I'm just dodging and like taking out one soldier at a time, like don't touch me, like
Yeah.
So these fights can get really annoying though. I mean they're fun, but they can get annoying.
Yeah, and it takes forever to level up, like because each of those battalions have a level, and it's not like these skirmishes are like readily available throughout. I want to say there's only like 50 of them total, and they randomly appear throughout the map. And that was another frustration I had with the trophies. That was like the main frustration with one of the trophies.
Yeah.
Not to get into that right.
Oh, you're good. So and also, can you hear my dogs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not bad though.
Okay. Sorry, I just don't want them all up in the podcast. But anyways, there is a citizen recruiting in this game to where if you do a side quest for certain characters, they will come join your kingdom. And some of them have their own like military units with them, to where you can equip them because you can have 4, I think, right? So
plus 7.
Yeah, so you'll add another military unit, and so it does have some customization options with that and stuff. So that's cool. I said I didn't like the skirmishes that much. They're fine as a side thing, but making them mandatory is a minus for me. Like, when you get towards the end of the game and it starts making you do these strategy fights, like, I was just like, God, just let me get into a regular, No Kuni fight. Don't make me do these skirmishes. If not for the skirmishes, this would have had a 10 on combat, but it has a 9.
So with me, my rating of the combat system, I didn't even factor in the skirmishes because I didn't really see those as combat. I saw it as a sort of mini game that took place throughout the game. When I was assessing the combat, I was just assessing the main combat that you have when you... And I appreciated what it did in the world is when you're traversing the main world, you see the main... Kind of like the new Pokemon games. You see the main enemy... And if you make contact or the enemy make contact with you, you go into a battle arena, and there's like 4 or 5 of them. And then it's like a circular battle, and it's like hack and slash, and you can rotate through your 3 characters. I greatly enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun.
I'm going to close my door real quick. Keep talking.
Yeah, go ahead. My biggest complaint that I had with this is... Hold on. I kind of want to share this with him, so I'm going to pretend we're talking, but he will never know that while I'm not completely talking. And then, when he comes back, we'll say something funny. And then my foot was in the apple pie, and they were like, what? Oh, hey. My biggest complaint with the battle system... my biggest complaint with the battle system is that it limited the amount of items you could use in the battle itself. Like, you can only use like 4... minor potions, 6 large potions, per battle. Like, you could have 99 in your inventory, but it only let you use 4 during it. I didn't like that.
Me neither.
On that note, I gave it 9 out of 10 Deku Nuts.
Oh, we're pretty on par with each other here.
What would you give the music?
The music. Let me go see my blurb about that. Okay, so above all, good music in this game. Kind of repetitive though. I noticed that the same music was used in even if you go to a new area, same music a lot of the times. So like the towns have different music, but the overworld, if you go in a forest, same music. If you go in a cave, same music. And so I didn't like that as much, but luckily that music that it was good.
Yeah.
So I said kind of repetitive. A lot of areas have the same music. Great music though. 8.5 Deku Nuts.
Oh, nice. So with the music, I agree. Like, just as like the first Ni no Kuni, it does a great job creating a soundtrack and the score for the game. The battle music, as with any JRPG, is fun and exciting, and it lets you know. Yeah, it's no Doom 2018 or any of the Dooms really, like with the music. But I would also give it a 9 out of 10. 2016, that's what I said.
Did you say 9 out of 10?
I gave it a 9 out of 10, yeah.
Okay.
Deku Nuts. All right, the goal that it was trying to achieve, Corey, did it do it?
Okay, so it does open world RPG very well. The world has a lot to do. The towns and cities seem lived in and not dead. A lot of these games have you go into a town and it's just like you feel like you're the only live person in that town. These towns are kind of hustle and bustle. Like, people are doing stuff, like, you know, stuff's going on around you. You leave and you come back and stuff has changed. I also love how the side quests lead to recruiting citizens, and the kingdom building is fantastic. So I'm going to give this game 10 Deku Nuts.
What? The first perfect Deku Nut score. Dun, dun, dun.
It did what it set out to do. What I expected this game to do, it did better than I thought, because I liked it more than number one. I was expecting the things I didn't like to come with this one from number one, and they didn't. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a 10.
My thoughts are similar but different, if that makes sense. So as an open world RPG, JRPG, I think it does a fantastic job, and I agree with you in that aspect. My issue with the towns in particular is I felt that they were a little bit empty, some of them. And I understand that there's a world war going on, but like some of them I felt like there wasn't a lot of variety to the citizens.
What do you expect when you're stealing all their citizens?
I know, right? Exactly. So I was a little upset by that, and I thought that it was a little ambitious. Like the skirmishes itself, I didn't see the point of having those. Like, yeah, I understand. I know we already talked about them a little bit. I understand that, like, needing to battle for your kingdom, but like, why add a whole different battle system type mini game into a JRPG where you have a established? And I just thought that was I mean, I enjoyed them, I did them, and but I just was like, the first couple times I'm like, why am I doing it like that? Like, why is this a thing? But overall, like, it does achieve what it needs to. It wants a heartfelt story with twist and character development, and I think it did well. I give it, but I don't give it a 10. I give it an 8.5.
Wow, so that's quite different from mine. Just to let you guys know, though, and you, Greg, my 10s are not comparing them to other games. Like, just because I gave this a 10 doesn't mean that if I play another RPG, it's better than that RPG, because it's like they're not comparative. It's basically
like if you
its own.
Witcher and gave The Witcher a 9 out of 10 on its goal.
Yeah, so it's in a. My scores are in a vacuum. Basically, they're not affected by things around them. That's what that means.
I mean, suck up dirt, but whatever.
Yeah. So if I give something else lower score in the future, and you're like, "What the heck? That's better than No Kuni." Probably. That doesn't mean It's just for now. Anyways.
Yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on what are your thoughts on the art?
Okay, the art is fantastic. It's not Studio Ghibli. Is it Ghibli or Ghibli? Ghibli. Yeah. Ghibli.
Which Studio Ghibli did the first game, but they imitated it.
Yeah, I was saying it's not them anymore, but I don't notice a drop in quality. They did a really good job of which. When people found out this wasn't going to be them again, it kind of lost some of its clout, or even gained some negative clout from it, because people were like, oh, Studio Ghibli's not working on them anymore. It's like, so it looks the same. I mean, come on. The game's gorgeous. 10 Deku Nuts for the art.
Nice. I also love the art style, and again, it looks almost identical to the first one, in my opinion. I'm not like an art style connoisseur. My only hesitation with it is that... Okay, how do I say this without like sounding like a total jerk? I wasn't like overwhelmed with the art style. Like when it came to the first Ni no Kuni, like I was overwhelmed. Like it was something that was really like new and different, and really kind of like paving the path. And I was like, oh man, this is great. And then when we get to this one, even though it's like a little drop off from the first one, and they achieved the same things that the first one achieved, but I was just wanting a little more, like it didn't do anything crazily different.
See, I would think if you thought number one would you give number one a 10?
Yes.
See, I would think you'd give 2 a 10 because they look so similar, but
yeah, but like it improved on so much other stuff from number one that I would want it to improve somehow. I don't know how. Maybe I'm being picky, so I only gave it a 9.5. Like, I still gave it a near perfect, but it's like
Coward.
I am a coward. I am a coward, as the Grand Poopah Greg Miller would say.
I knew you'd get that reference.
Anyway, I want to make a note on this. I appreciated very greatly that when I equipped a new weapon, a new like shield or boots or something, not boots, but I appreciate that you can see the difference in the weapons, and when you got one of the different outfits, like it reflected in the cutscenes and
I only
stuff.
got one outfit.
Yeah, and that's another issue I had. Like the outfits were scarce.
I only got Roland's second outfit.
Yeah, they were part of like treasure chest and defeat certain monsters, and you got them.
Okay. Well, got my average already.
Okay, yeah. What's your average?
It is a 9.2 Deku.
9.2. Yeah, that's a good rating.
Okay, now your average, sir. You'd like to.
Oh, well, I keep everyone. Okay, so talking about the trophies, when the PlayStation Trophies org, I think it's a .org. We'll have to figure that out. It had this game rated also at a 4.10 or 4 out of 10, just like God of War. The only difference is it estimated 76 to 100 hours to platinum, and I would agree with that. It probably took me like 75 to 80 hours to get the platinum trophy, and that was really like post game grinding, because I beat the game and I was probably at like 60 hours, and then it took me another like 10-15 hours to finish all the side stuff, which I didn't mind because I enjoyed the game so much and enjoyed getting the extra little bits of stuff. And when you beat the game, you get like it saves up until the final boss, so you gain all the experience and stuff from the boss, but without having the end of the game happened, because at the end of the game, like, there's no need for everything to still be going on. So I enjoyed it.
Sorry, hey, I got it now. 8.9.
8.9. What happened?
My calculator kept messing up. Like, I was like, wait, that's more than 5 numbers, and I have to go back. And then, okay, yeah.
By the way, it was really anticlimactic. You're like, I got it now, 8.9. You know.
What did you say you gave it? What did I say? 8.9?
8.9, yeah.
8.9, yes. Okay, sorry. Greg gives it a 8.9.
8.9.
Well, I figured, I was like, dang, I'm taking way too long right now. They think I can't count.
Which, I mean, I understand you can't. So 8.9 and 9.2?
Yes.
I'd give the game about a 9, yeah, so that fits.
And mine's close to a 9, so we both
are
close to each other.
Yeah.
All
we
right.
haven't been like, super different on many things so far.
So,
any last thoughts on it? Any trophies you want to talk about?
Are there trophies I don't like? I'm trying to think. The trophies
are pretty straightforward. I feel like it's like
pretty fine to me.
Like get all the side do all the side items, gain all the people. Like you can't level up your kingdom through the final level until you beat the final boss. So you can't gain the last few citizens until you beat the final boss. But I mean, other than that,
I guess you did say the skirmishes were kind of annoying.
Yeah, the skirmishes was the last trophy I had to get, because I found out that there's like you have to defeat them all, and there's like whatever number is like 30 or 50, I can't even remember. But when you get to the wide open map, like there's only like 8 at a time that pop up, and they'll keep popping up. So the best way to get them to re-pop up is to like save your game in the open world and then load it. And every time you load it, a different, because they pop up in groups. There's like 7 groups. And I literally spent probably 30-40 minutes just reloading my game trying to get my last one to pop up.
I do have some final thoughts.
Okay.
Longmane was my favorite character to recruit.
Why?
I don't know. I just liked that he was a soldier and he was taking it way too seriously. I just thought it was funny. Yeah. It's like calm down, man. No, I must defend the colony. Like he reminded me of like Inferno from Beast Wars. If any of you watched it, it's like, bro, you need to calm down.
But no need to be so amped up.
Yeah, like we understand you're a soldier, but you don't need to attack every cat that walks by. But anyways, and one thing I did not like. So when I was writing these notes, it was before I really started doing the side quests, but I was like, no matter how many times you get a glow spot, you just feel like you gotta go grab a glow spot. Like, items.
Want to explain what the
yeah,
like walking around the world.
Yeah, so there'll be little glow spots on the ground, and if you go run over it, it'll give you a random item. Like every area has its own random items that are like basically based on RNG, which item you get, and some are more rare than others. And that's what made it kind of annoying to do some of these side quests, because it's like, oh, you have to get this kind of coral, and then I have to go freaking just farm glow spots till I get a coral. Like, it's really annoying.
Honestly, okay, so there's a trophy. There's probably a trophy that prevented you from doing this, but there's a trophy to have in your party at one time 500,000 guilders, which is $500,000, right? Once I was able to gain that pretty quick because I did every side mission and all the side quests and stuff, and so you just don't spend any money because you don't buy weapons in this game. You can, but the weapons you get from monsters are way better, and the equipment you get from monsters are way better. So you just don't buy anything until you get the 500,000. So when I got to those parts where it's like get 8 glow coral or whatever, like you can buy those if you go to the right shop. So
yeah,
that's
and
what I
also
did.
your kingdom will hold a lot of it too if you level it up enough.
Yeah, that was annoying because there's like 4 or 5 different mine shops and 4 or 5 different fish houses or whatever, and so you got to upgrade fish house 3 to level 4 to get this one item every 30
seconds. Not high enough level to research this.
Yeah, so that was kind of annoying.
Yeah,
but just part of it.
Yeah, so those are my final thoughts on that.
Yeah. You want to talk about our next dude play?
So next dude play, not necessarily next week.
We'll talk next week, but we probably won't be done with it.
Yes, it is Kingdom Hearts Recoded on the Nintendo DS. Hated by many Kingdom Hearts fans. Probably known as one of the worst ones. I'd say people dislike Chain of Memories or Chain of Memories even more because it's a card system, but once you get that down, it's a fun game. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. We've already started playing it a little bit. We're not very far. How
long are you?
Barely. Like, I got to Destiny Island and
so like
yeah. So we will get more in depth with that. If you like to play it with us, you should. Very cheap game.
Too. Yeah.
Emulate it if you need to.
It is the 4th game chronologically. So Corey and I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3 yet because we kind of want to, even if we don't understand the story, we want to play through the story as it was released. So it went Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, then Recoded. So,
and some of you might be saying, but aren't all the games on PS4 now? Kind of. Only the cutscenes for this game are on the PS4 version.
Oh, okay, yeah.
PS3 version. So you basically will get the story, but you can't play it. So we were like, we're going to go play the OG thing, and then I'll probably watch all the cutscenes in HD with trophies after I beat it.
Yeah, because it's like 3.5 hours or something like that of cutscenes.
If you don't want to play through it with us, but you do want to kind of experience it, I found a really cool Let's Play on YouTube where they have the gameplay, but every time there's a cutscene, they input one of the HD cutscenes.
Oh, that's cool. There's no copyright for that?
I guess not. I don't know how these people are getting away with this stuff.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. So
pirates,
join us.
Oh, we didn't talk about the next game of the month either. Game.
Oh, the next game of the month it's either gonna be. I'm playing both. I don't know about Greg. Spec Ops: The Line and The Last of Us.
It's a quarantine month, and our world is being affected by this COVID-19, as you guys might be well aware of. So a lot of people in our Facebook groups are, I guess, quote unquote, non-essential. So they're stuck at home. So there's a community-wide decision to do a second game. The first game was Spec Ops: The Line for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, first person
and PC.
First person shooter, and then the second game, ironically, ended up being The Last of Us.
Well, once again, Kevin rigs them apparently, so
it rigged.
He rigged this one to be super. What is it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Ironic?
Insensitive. Yes, insensitive.
Oh yeah. He's a jerk.
I know. The only thing worse would have been Plague Tale or something, but
oh yeah, or something like that, or not Left Behind, but Everyone's Gone to the Rapture or something.
Yeah, everyone's mad, by the way, that Resident Evil 3 is coming out right now. It's like, you're mad that all these games are delayed, but then you're also mad that this game you knew was coming out is coming out just because of the pandemic. Anyways, we're gonna move on.
Yeah, moving on. All right, so that kind of covers up our video game section. So if you're leaving us now, we appreciate you hanging out. If you want to continue to stay in for our nerdy corner, stay tuned in 3, 2.
Okay, so we read the first 5 issues of The Amazing Spider-Man by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. I almost said Sean Lee. He's our linebacker for Dallas.
Yeah.
And Stan
Lee.
Same
thing.
Everyone loves Stan Lee, but Steve Ditko gets no credit ever.
Well, Stan Lee's more than just Spider-Man. Stan Lee's like the Marvel Cinematic guy.
Well, he created the characters and the story, but Steve Ditko brought them to life with all these drawings and, Anyways. I love them both. But anyways, so this is the original 1963 run. We did not do the first appearance of Spider-Man. He appeared in Amazing Fantasy 15, so we started with issue 1 of Spider-Man's own, his self-comic here. As you can see the cover here on the screen, Fantastic Four came out a little before Spider-Man. I want to say, because I read the in issue 5. Did you read the little write-ins?
The note at the end? I didn't.
You didn't read? They're so fun.
No, I didn't.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I should start reading this.
So one of the people in there said something. They were talking about issue 3, and they were talking about how Fantastic Four issue 12 had just come out. So that's kind of the timeline.
Okay.
So Fantastic Four was probably at issue 9 or 10 when this started, which we will be getting into some Fantastic Four in the future. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Spoiler alert. Real quick, how we want to do the Nerd Corner is that we will swap weeks of what we'll do. So Corey will pick the content for week this week. He chose The Amazing Spider-Man. I'll choose the content for week 2. Then he'll choose the content for week 3. That way we're not just stuck on one topic for 10 weeks at a time.
And also, see how we're doing Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 5 right now? A lot of times, or maybe all the time, further down the line, you're going to get 6 through 10, us discussing Spider-Man. So, it's not going to be right in a row or anything, but, it's a nice little circulation going.
Yeah, absolutely. But, yeah.
So,
okay.
Overall, Greg, what did you think about?
Overall thoughts on issues 1 through 5 without getting into anything. Spider-Man's always been one of my favorite superheroes. I always thought it was I identified with him a little bit growing up. He's kind of a social outcast, a social reject, just nose to the books. Everyone makes fun of him. Not trying to be woe is me, but I just always kind of connect with the character a little bit. And spiders are my biggest phobia. So I kind of embrace the Batman role in it a little bit, where I was I'll choose Spider-Man kind of as one of my favorite guys, and hopefully it'll overcome it. It has not. I'm still terrified of spiders. But overall, I thought they were really, I enjoy seeing, being a fan of the movies, the MCU, and seeing where it is now, Spider-Man is now. I enjoy seeing the beginnings of it. It's nowhere near as good as the current Spider-Man or Marvel Universe, obviously, but I did enjoy them. What about you?
Yeah, so my kind of background with Spider-Man is I was obsessed with the animated series from the 90s, which is on Disney Plus now, guys, so you should watch it. I loved that show so much, but I never put it concrete Spider-Man is my favorite hero. But me watching it so much, I think my mom kind of inferred that, So she would just always, throughout my childhood, up through, I'll get to this in a second. It's gonna be a little bit of a downer, but not a big downer. So she would always bring me home Spider-Man. She brought me home a Spider-Man plush that I still have. She brought me home a big Spider-Man poster one time. She'd bring me home Spider-Man T-shirts, and she's always bring me home if she find anything Spider-Man, she'd bring it home because she's oh, my kid loves Spider-Man, so because he was watching it. So Spider-Man kind of chose me. So which I do love. You were molded by it. Yeah, so Spider-Man is my favorite hero and has been for the past over 10 years now. And it was kind of just it wasn't even a chosen thing by me. It just kind of happened, which obviously my mom helped with that. So my mom passed away in 2010, and So she was on her way back from Dollar General when she wrecked her car. They brought her stuff that she had got from Dollar General back to me, like a Dollar General bag full of stuff. And there was some magnets in there, like some coffee magnets, like coffee mug, Java mug, you know. And then there was some batteries, I think, a lock, I don't know what it's for. And she brought me some Spider-Man socks. So her last day alive, she bought me Spider-Man socks. And
I did not know that. You've never told me that.
yeah, so yeah, Spider-Man is my guy now. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, I loved these. They're not good in a sense of like, if you want this like super in-depth, like, you know, ride, like, oh, this story is so amazing. It's more like if you were watching, I don't know, like a reality TV show. It's just something like, it's funny, you know. It's kind of
very corny,
cheesy and corny.
Yes,
I laughed a lot at stuff I probably not even supposed to be funny. But yeah, I enjoyed them. And the art's good. The art's nice and classic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely beautiful art.
Before they did computer art and stuff, like, this is all hand-drawn, hand-colored. Yes. So, yeah. I had a lot of fun with them.
Me too. All right, so issue 1. What are your thoughts on issue 1?
Issue 1...
kind of like... Yeah, go ahead. Just go ahead. Yeah, just
the main villain in issue 1 was Chameleon.
Well, okay, so...
It had 2 villains, didn't it?
Like, so with the first, I want to say the first 2 issues, maybe the first 3 issues, there's like 2 stories.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what it's making me forget stuff.
Yeah, so with the first issue, it kind of introduced Spider-Man to us and introduced Jay Jameson, the a-hole. The reporter that, if you guys have seen it in the movie, he's like, Spider-Man's a scoundrel. It's that guy.
Get me a picture of Spider-Man.
Get me a picture. Yeah, so it introduced him, and he's a menace. That's what he says, a menace. And so the first part of this issue is like his son is like an astronaut or something, and his rocket is malfunctioned, and Spider-Man saves him. And then there's a second like 6 or 7 page story about Mr. Chameleon and the Fantastic Four. So I think they're really trying to like capitalize on the popularity of Fantastic Four to introduce Spider-Man.
Yeah. So
sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good. Chameleon did you know about Chameleon before this issue, Greg?
No, I never had heard of Mr. Chameleon.
So Chameleon, oh gosh, it's so funny. Chameleon I'm just going to say what Chameleon is in the cartoon first. In the animated series and how he is present-day Chameleon, he's basically, you know Mystique, right, from X-Men?
Yeah.
He's basically like that. Like, wow, can turn into whoever he wants.
Wow.
So, but back then, they didn't think about those powers. So Mr. Chameleon's just real good at changing his clothes, basically.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. I was like, he just mask clothes.
He has like a mask of someone, and like
he's a super villain.
Like slips off into a closet and changes real fast, and I was just like, oh gosh. And like, how is that even a villain? Like, he doesn't even need powers.
I don't know. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, what the heck?
Chameleon now is much cooler. He's like like a white bald head, like Slender Man looking, and he can change skin basically like Mystique. So but I didn't know that the introduction of Chameleon, he was so corny like that. It's so funny.
My thoughts on issue 1 is something different happened from all the other Spider-Man stories. Uncle Ben died in his home. Like a robber broke into the home. Like, spoiler alert a little bit, but like Uncle Ben dies. But every other story, it's like on the way home from a store, in an alley, in the street. Like, he died at home. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. So, did you think this part was really funny, by the way, when Spider-Man's fighting the police, and then Chameleon's like, I'm gonna change. And they're like, I don't know which Spider-Man's real.
I know. I was like, what are you talking about?
One of them's like on the ceiling and stuff, and the other one's just running around in a circle. Like, which one is it?
It's very, very corny to start with. It gets better. It gets better.
Okay.
All right. Issue 2.
Issue 2 is the Vulture / the Tinkerer, which I will admit I've never heard of the Tinkerer before this.
Yes. Me neither. I never heard of Mr. Chameleon, but yeah, the Vulture was the first. This was finally, I was like, I know, after all this time, issue 2, I was like, okay, a villain I recognize. So the Vulture, and it finally like gave Spider-Man a real enemy, like that could kind of match his powers, and so it was kind of cool to see that for the first time.
Yeah. The Vulture, he's pretty similar to his animated series self, and even to the Homecoming movie, I guess, with Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton did a fantastic job, by the way.
Yeah, so basically an older, grumpy, very smart man. Most of Spider-Man's villains seem to be like geniuses.
Yeah, none of them know they're being outsmarted and outwitted by a high school student.
Yeah. So yeah, he has like the Vulture suit gets really cool later on. Like I don't think his suit was that cool like this early on, but it was at least a little bit high tech, you know.
Yeah, it was like vibrations or something,
Yeah.
and that's how it defeated him. Like, okay, I feel like I'm spoiling these issues, but it's like
these stories aren't really.
Yeah, they're nothing's deep about it. So like us talking about them in this aspect,
If
like obviously like Spider-Man's gonna win.
When we get to some deeper comics, we'll care more about spoilers. Yes. But this, I promise everyone, like I'm really bad about not liking to hear spoilers. But these are just like I don't.
It's like it takes place in like 10 pages, and like the story's in 10 pages or whatever, and like only like 4 of them are actual combat pages.
This in this issue though, this is when I kind of realized. I mean, I'd realized it before. I didn't really think about it. They feel like they need to say every single thing that they're doing because like they don't think the reader's very smart. It seems like it's we gotta tell. Yeah. We have to tell the reader exactly what's going on. So Spider-Man gets stuck in a water tower, for instance. Mm-hmm. He's like, you know what? With my superhuman strength, I can also jump really high. So I'm going to jump straight up and blast through the top of this thing or whatever.
Yes.
So yeah.
A recurring issue that I noticed in issue 2 is that they want you to know that Peter Parker is very poor and broke. He's like, I have no money. I need to sell pictures. You know,
yeah.
He says that all the time. He's like, I'll have no money, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
What'd you think about the Tinkerer part of this?
Okay,
he's kind of a weird guy.
The Tinkerer, it's the second part. It's like a mini story in it, and he's like this super smart dude that like fixes he works at like a pawn shop and he fixes elaborate televisions and radios for like 20 cents, which back then was probably still cheap, but it'd be like fix it for $1 now, whereas like actual repair job would cost 50. So everyone's going to him and he's implanting these bugs in it, and he's actually working for aliens. And I was like, what?
It's like, where did this come from?
Like, I'm like, why are there aliens? But I was like, okay, cool. He was an interesting character, but again, he's not like anything super special, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to be like an arch nemesis or something.
I was so surprised when it was aliens. I was like,
I know. I was like, what's going on?
So issue 2, did you like it?
Yeah, it got better because I enjoyed the Vulture.
Yeah,
I mean, not saying I didn't enjoy the Tinkerer, but I was like, oh, okay, good. Like, it's not going to wait 10 episodes before it like really establishes like a super villain. Yeah. I appreciated that.
So, issue 3 introduced Dr. Octopus, Dr. Octo Octavius, and he was pretty similar to his current self. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Like, I had never known that he had made the arms to test radioactive material. I did not know that's why he had been originally created his arm.
Yeah, I can't remember if they changed that in any way, like recently or in the 90s or anything.
Yeah, so I don't know. But I thought, yeah, absolutely.
And once again, he's like, with my really long metal arms, I can walk right over this fence, like to get in. Where
at one point, he's like hiding from an enemy. He's like, with my long arms holding me up. They don't know if I'm a piper or not.
Someone wrote in about that. So these issues, after every issue, they were taking write-ins from readers. Mm-hmm. So this is like 1963 reader write-ins. They're very interesting. One of them was like calling them out for that. He was like, "So, hang on, did I write it? I don't know if I did." Yeah, so they called him out. He called the writers out, like, so you're saying they won't notice there's a pipe, or that all they'll see is a pipe, but they won't notice that there's a Dr. Octopus on the ceiling right above said pipe or whatever.
I know, yeah, absolutely.
But then, like, they said all this stuff, and whoever wrote back was saying, like, oh, you're gonna correct us, we're gonna correct you then. He actually didn't say this, he said this. Like,
clap back. Clap back.
So
I enjoyed this one. This was the issue I really enjoyed. Like, I thought I enjoyed issue 2, but then when I got to this, I was like, okay, cool. It was his first real test. Like, every other obstacle up until this point, Spider-Man's like, I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Duh. This was the first time I felt like he was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
You know?
So, issue 4 is when I finally started taking notes. I didn't take notes on the first 3 issues.
One more note on issue 3. Fantastic Four was a part of this. And so, like, not a huge part, but it was like, oh, Fantastic Four is going to come in and save the day. Like, they were kind of alluding to that, but Spider-Man ended up saving the day. And so I thought it was interesting that they're keeping Fantastic Four around, just like, not really Easter eggs, but like reminding you that it's the same universe.
Yeah, so in this 1963 universe, basically the Fantastic Four are the big, you know how Avengers are now? It's like, when you watch one of the Avengers movie, it's like, oh, that's the Avengers tower over there, like, they're gonna save us. Fantastic Four are the famous superheroes at this point, and Spider-Man is just this kind of side dude that's like kind of envies them, kind of wants to join them. He attempted to join them in issue 1, didn't he?
Yeah, kind of. He was like, pay me money, and they're like, we don't pay for ourselves.
We don't need you, Spider-Man. But
him being broke kind of aspect.
Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of how this universe is set up so far. But issue 4,
Sorry.
You're good. It introduced the Sandman. What do you think about the Sandman, Greg?
Sandman is even like, without going to issue 5, like, Sandman is my favorite villain that they've introduced so far. He has a very cool superpower. Yes, I think it's amazing, like, really, really overpowered, OP. And he was a part of the cinematic universe with, I think, the Tobey Maguire movies, and I thought it was a cool power then. And he's like a super villain that, like, can be he can become sand, Avi, and slip into stuff and change his body to morph how he needs, and he can also make it as hard as diamond. So, I mean, I thought it was a really, really cool superpower, and it was the first time Spider-Man, like, really, like, can't just physically overpower someone. With Doc Ock, obviously, like, he was still stronger than Doc Ock, like, could match him, but Spider-Man was, like, stronger than Doc Ock still. Yeah. Whereas with Sandman, I felt like he kind of met his match. Like, he couldn't just punch him as hard as he could.
Yeah, because, like, power.
Yeah, and I thought that was a nice little twist, and I just thought, like, I would rather have Sandman's powers than, like, Dr. Octopus or the Vulture's powers. You know, like, that would be a cool.
100%. They're kind of just using suits. And
like, Sandman himself has superpowers.
And I never realized how he became Sandman until this issue.
Yeah, that was cool. It kind of showed his backstory a little bit, and I think they did that with Doc Ock a little bit too. But with Sandman, they like went into more detail about like exactly like his origin a little bit.
So, see if I remember correctly, he was running from the police, slipped into someone was testing, like the military was testing something or something. And
yeah, he was from the police, and the only place he could hide that he wasn't recognized was a military, like, radioactive plant or something like that.
Yeah, so somehow it went off, and, like, the sand under his feet got activated, and it got him too, I guess, and kind of fused him with the sand.
His molecular components to that of the sand, which was cool.
Yeah, so did you write any notes on this? Because I have a few notes on this issue.
I put that I enjoyed the Peter Parker internal struggles. Like, this is where he really starts to struggle between his identity of Peter Parker and his identity as Spider-Man. It starts to develop his relationships with his fellow classmates more, you know, and I thought that was really interesting. Like, it introduces his antagonist as Peter Parker, as Flash, and how he's just picked on, and you can tell he wants to be accepted by them, but then he realizes that he's better than them because he's super smart.
Quick trivia, do you know who Flash turns into eventually?
The Flash? Don't tell me.
Okay, we might get there. No. Okay, so, yeah, and also with that, this is the issue where he's supposed to go on a date, right? And he's not able to?
Oh, yeah.
So Flash ends up getting his girl because he's too busy being Spider-Man, so... But it's okay if she would choose Flash over. I hate Flash, man. I really don't like Flash. I don't know how. I know, but
you're not supposed to like him.
It's so frustrating to see Peter Parker go be this badass and then come back and get all this crap talked to him by Flash, and you just want to tell him, like, that was me, what you're watching on TV, and I could literally kill you with one hit, but I'm going to say...
And Flash loves Spider-Man, and I think they did a great job doing that. Like, Flash idolizes Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like,
Flash is like, Spider-Man's so cool, not like you dweeb Peter Parker. Like,
you stupid dweeb Peter Parker, you nerd, you're probably scared. And I'm like, oh my god. And I really enjoy the fact that they'll show Peter Parker, like, one side of his face will be Peter Parker, and the other side is Spider-Man, and you can tell he's having, like, thought bubbles on one and thought bubbles on the other, and he's, like, having internal struggle. He's like, oh, I hate Flash, I should just do it. And Spider-Man's like, nah, dude, like, be the better man, you're a superhero.
I can tell his patience is starting to wear thin, though. Like, he wants to kill Flash.
He's like, oh, curse you.
But my notes are... I like Spider-Man's web wings, even though they don't make sense. A lot of podcasts I've listened to talk about how they're super glad that those wings underneath his arms are gone because they don't make any sense because spiders don't have wings. But I think they're good. I think they're cool. Addition.
I like the aesthetic. And the newer Spider-Man, part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has the web wings.
Does he?
Yeah, Tom Holland, he has the web wings. Like, the suits that he has... They have the web wings.
I couldn't remember that.
Like when they go to New York City and he's on the... I haven't
watched the newest Spider-Man.
No, it's...
I watched Homecoming.
It should be Homecoming, yeah.
I haven't watched Far From Home.
Wait, is Homecoming... Who's the villain in Homecoming?
Vulture.
Yeah, it's that one. So it's Vulture, and he climbs up the tower, the Memorial Tower in Washington, D.C., and jumps over... a helicopter, and he has the wings on. It doesn't fly. He it helps him glide a little bit.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay,
I also like how there's a Shocker Easter egg in Homecoming. By the way, I don't know if you noticed that, or do you know who Shocker is?
No, I was just with you.
Well, when they're on the boat, he's like, "Hey, that's so and so." I looked up his name, and that's Shocker's real name. He's one of the villains. Anyways, I put, how would Sandman know who Peter Parker is to turn him in after his mask rips? Because Spider-Man's like, oh no, my mask ripped. If I let Sandman see me, he's gonna reveal my identity. Sandman doesn't know who Peter Parker is, so...
But it's the whole aspect of, like, just seeing your face is the whole issue.
So he wouldn't be able to turn him in, really, so he would just know who he is from now on. Like, if he saw him again.
But he could figure it out. Like,
yeah.
Me seeing face,
no Google back then. No Facebook.
I know, but you could figure it out.
And then I was like, whoa, Aunt May's selling shoelaces for 10 cents each. That's such a random thing to sell.
I was like, that's so stupid.
And
maybe that's a 60s thing.
Did you notice how when Sandman was running from the police, he was like, I'm just going to turn into a pile of sand and they'll run right by. Yes. It's like, you know you're chasing Sandman. You run by this body-sized pile of sand. You're like, just sand. Keep going.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
All
yeah.
Right, so
it's sand in New York City. Like,
yeah, it's like on concrete.
Yeah.
Is that a shirt laying in that sand? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
So, issue 5, my favorite issue so far.
Dr. Doom.
Yes, I love Dr. Doom. He's one of my favorite ones.
Is it homage? More homage to Fantastic Four? Homage?
Yeah.
You know?
Did you know Dr. Doom before this issue?
Yeah, Dr. Doom is the main antagonist to the Fantastic Four.
Dr. Victor Von Doom.
Victor Von Doom. Yeah.
So what did you think of this? You want me to go first? You go first.
I enjoyed it a lot because Dr. Doom is known as, like, me personally, like, Dr. Doom is like an ultimate supervillain. Like, people know about him, and he is seen by a lot. Yeah, a big dog. He's like up there in the tiers with, like, Joker and
Magneto.
Magneto, thank you. Yeah, like, and whereas Sandman's more like the Penguin or Mr. Freeze, and since in the Batman universe, since I used the Joker, like, he is like a big dog. Like you said it best. So I appreciate that. He's super smart, super strong, and his powers are awesome. So
yeah,
I enjoy it.
He's always been one of my favorite villains, and I used to watch the 90s Fantastic Four too, and he was always there. And I'm pretty sure he was... Never mind, we'll get into that. We're going to be watching some of these, my friend.
Yeah.
Did you have any notes or anything on this episode?
I thought it was hilarious. that Flash dressed as Spider-Man to try and scare Peter Parker. And
oh gosh,
it didn't work out. Like, without getting too much into it, Dr. Doom kind of like kidnapped Flash because he thought he was Spider-Man, but like he was Flash like dressed as Spider-Man to scare Spider-Man. I was like, this is so stupid, but I enjoy it.
I kind of wish it would have played out just so I could see.
Like he's like, what do I like? I have to act like Peter Parker that I'm not Spider-Man. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So some of my notes here. One of my favorite villains. If I were Peter, I'd kick Flash right in the face.
Can't do that.
I know. How in the world did Peter practice his agility secretly in his room without his Aunt May finding? He's like, practicing my agility. He's like flying all over his little bedroom.
The part that I don't like is Dr. Doom was able to create this way of figuring out who Spider-Man was and mistaked it for Flash. Like, and that's like a huge thing, you know?
Yeah,
and
I thought about that too. Like, if anyone got
that. It's a huge thing, like being able to figure out Spider-Man's secret identity. And I know this is issue 5, and it might circle back to that, but like, why isn't that not like used again? Why is that not like a thing used?
When he said this detects spider impulses or something, I was like, is he literally going to detect every single actual spider?
Yeah.
You know?
It was a weird concept, but I was like, I don't like the idea of this being so readily available.
Yeah, it's like, it's a little OP.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm glad they no longer make Spider-Man's spider sense actually able to pick up words rather than just danger, because that's a new thing to me.
It goes back to Dr. Doom's device. He was able to channel the spider waves.
You don't remember someone else did it in one of the past issues? They were like, "Oh, Spider-Man will hear me. Spider-Man help! Spider-Man help!" And he's like, "Oh, someone needs help." Like, that's not how it works in
I get what you're saying.
Like nowadays. It's more like something's flying at you and you're like, "Ding, ding, ding, dodge!" Like, so I don't really like the whole telepathic thing. Like,
I thought it was cool the final fight with him and Dr. Doom because he had to rely on his spider senses.
Yeah, because he was like blinded.
Yeah, and that was the first fight where it's like he's. Like, I said he met his match with Sandman, but with Dr. Doom, he's like met his match in every way.
He almost lost. He would have lost.
Yeah, Dr. Doom's like smarter than him, stronger than him, like, and more prepared than him.
And he walked right into all his traps, so it's like he's out of his element too.
Yeah, thought it was really well done.
Basically, Fantastic Four saved Spider-Man because, I mean, according to Dr. Doom, he almost had him, but he said this is it like 5 times and it wasn't it. Yeah. So,
classic villain.
The old trap door like Scooby-Doo, he tried to pull on him. I thought he was gonna float for a second and then fall into it. Like
he's like, "Well, I got super quick spider-like reflexes." Like flipped out of the way. I was like, okay, cool.
So my next note here is talking again about how the comics assume you don't know what's going on and they have to spell everything out. And like when Dr. Doom grabbed Flash on accident instead of Peter, and when because it like wrote out like, did you notice how it wrote out, Dr. Doom accidentally grabbed Flash thinking it was Spider-Man? It's like, we know this is why, because they were watching it happen.
I didn't take it in the sense that they thought we were stupid. It was more like, I took it as like a new breaking news. You know, that's how I took it.
What about when Spider-Man jumps out of the window and he's like, has time to think, if I just turn my body slightly, I'll dodge this dock and fall right into the water. I
enjoyed that because I thought that was good. Because it gives you a sense that Spider-Man's still developing, and it's like because me saying what I'm saying now, I've already thought in my head in a millisecond. You know, like we think so much faster than we speak. So like in that instant, he's like, "Oh, okay, I need." Like he's able, like he's not just acting on instinct anymore. He's like, "Oh, I need to do it this way," and he's like able to do it in time. So I appreciate
like the newer comics that I've been reading. If something's happening and you can tell what's going on from the picture, they don't feel the need to say it. Like when Dr. Doom is like, "Oh, your web temporarily clogged my finger gun." You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I definitely.
It's just funny that I've noticed it more in older comics.
Yes. Oh, I agree.
But Spider-Man is known to talk to himself a lot and like lay out his plans and stuff. If you watch like the old cartoons and stuff, I said I would not have helped Flash for one. Like, you stay in there, Flash. And how is it dark in Peter's house, but light outside, and then it's dark again when Peter gets home?
He took the fuse.
Well, because, like, he darkened the house, and he later said he didn't get the fuses because he was too scared to walk at night. But when the Fantastic Four came and saved Spider-Man, they blew a hole in the ceiling, and it was light outside. It was daylight.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
So,
I just thought it was lame. Like, he was like, "Oh, I gotta go save him. Aunt May, I gotta go do something." She's like, "You are not going out of this house for any reason." He's like, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna go to the basement and do some laundry or whatever." Fuse out. She's like, "Oh, you've got to go to the store."
On my way.
And you're like, okay,
and I'm not nitpicking this stuff in a mean way. I'm more thinking like funny, corny way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I put Betty wants her some Peter. That's what she said.
Yes, that is she does. Which Betty's the secretary for Jameson. The Spider-Man's a menace.
Which means she's a full-on adult, and Spider-Man's like mid-high school.
When I'm picturing Spider-Man, I'm picturing him as a high school senior. Like, I don't know if that's right. It hasn't told us which grade he's in, but he's a genius when it comes to, like, he's obviously either a junior or a senior, I think, because he's like an older teenager, but he is like super smart.
Flash drives.
And they drive, yes.
Yeah. So I'm thinking a love interest thing's brewing here because he also talked about how he likes her.
Yeah, he was like, I've never thought of her like that. Which I find hard to believe. He's a 17-year-old teenage boy, you know.
And last thing is, I love the reader write-ins, and I think it would behoove you to read through them because they're fun.
No, well, I'll check them out. Absolutely. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed them.
Me too. So you wouldn't be opposed to doing 6 through 10 at a later date?
No, I mean, I think it's up to you to choose, but no, I wouldn't be like upset that we had to do that.
So there's a guy I follow a podcast for and stuff, and like he has a website that's all about comic books, and it tells you what path to go if you want to read, like, I don't know, I put like all the comics, and so this is the start of that path, the first 10 issues of this, and it goes 10 issues of Fantastic Four continues, so I'm basically going to be following that, I think.
So. Yeah, absolutely, and I would appreciate that, honestly, if that's the best way to experience the universe. Yeah, I'm all for that.
So there's that. So do you want to tell them real quick before we wrap up what our next nerd corner is going to be? Yeah,
absolutely. Next nerd corner is my choice. Corey obviously chose the first 5 issues of The Amazing Spider-Man, and neither one of us had really been invested in this. The next thing is something that I have experienced before and Corey's never experienced, but I'm going to go back and re-experience it with him. And it's the first 5 episodes of the anime series Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. There are 2, I don't know if you know this, Corey, there's 2 Full Metal Alchemist series out there, and they both start off very similarly. The only difference is Brotherhood is completely based on the original source, the manga, or the manga, however you want to pronounce it, and Full Metal Alchemist itself, like about halfway through or so, it gets ahead of the source material, so they kind of ad-lib, so it's a little different at the end. So Brotherhood is I've never watched the other one. I've only watched Brotherhood, but we're going to be watching episodes 1 through 5. It's a very popular anime, and it's actually the first anime that I got into that really opened the door for me. That's why I wanted to recommend it for you. And it's on Netflix, so it's pretty easy. They're 22-minute episodes, which really that 22 minutes is actually like 18 minutes if you like don't count the opening cinematics and the closing cinematics.
Okay, cool. So, I'm excited. You guys should watch along with
1
us.
through 5. Yeah, absolutely, guys. We'll talk about it, kind of like we did here, a quick overview of each episode.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And do we have anything else, sir?
No, I think that's it. We did it, guys. You guys, you're the real MVPs. Keeping with us through the whole Gaming Central podcast.
Yeah, so be sure to sub and follow us on everything at Sea Stove and Iced Goose. Mm-hmm. And be sure to come back for the next one.
I'll see you guys next week. Bye.